if you ask the average person, is there something greater than you? The majority, and there are tons of polls out there that show this, the majority will say yes, that there is something greater than self. But we don't necessarily honor self enough to understand the relation of self to that. And that's where this tie to spirituality and our overall interweaved being comes into play. It's like, what is that interaction? And how can we find the thread between our own inner being to then weave to what that even is, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we go back and we see people who represented what that looks like. They call them holy people. Well, they were WHOL, like holy themselves. Yeah, LY. I missed, I didn't say the whole holy themselves. And I do know how to spell sometimes, but but yeah, they were holy themselves. They were honoring the wholeness within themselves and the wholeness of the universe and everyone around them. Right? It wasn't just an internal experience, which is, I mean, you get to when you have that awareness, that in alone is an incredible shift in your entire life, and it's incredible. Yeah, there aren't even words. But then when you start to recognize the wholeness within each other individual and within the whole itself, and then the layers of what it means to be how there is, and as you beautifully present, being independently dependent, that to me is what we're talking about here. And so this isn't unattainable. This isn't like, oh, this is all these people who walked the earth, who were holy, they were greater than us. No, they were there. They're amazing, but they were also there to show us what's possible for each and every one of us. This isn't unattainable. Otherwise, what's the point? I mean, if they were they'd just be, we always say, don't be a dick. Well, if you're just being better than everyone else, that's just being a dick. that's that's not a holy person. I'm sorry. It just isn't. And so when we can kind of strip that down and recognize it's not, if someone is embodying what it means to be holy, that doesn't make us any less. Doesn't make us worse. All it does is give us the opportunity to step up and be our own version of holy.
Yeah. And that goes back to a question I asked you on our last podcast, right? Because for me, if I get a concept and then I have someone share with me how they've utilized that concept, then it helps me go back into my memory bank and go, oh, well, I had a similar experience to that. And now you're sharing your experience, and I can interweave your experience, my experience, and learn how to then move forward based on that common experience and where I want to go from that. So if we look at these beings that have come and we call them holy, Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus, all of these amazing teachers and guides that we've had, and we take from that and we say, okay, well, I've had shared experiences like the ones they're describing. Now, in my experience, though, what is my next level of that? Whether that's physical, my body is a temple. Okay, what does it mean to me that my body is a temple? If I look at that as a spiritual being, well, that means I need to understand what my body needs to hold my spirit. Because what my body needs to hold my spirit is different than what your body needs to hold your spirit. So if Atkins, I'm not calling Atkins out, and not that you're doing Atkins, but some people, Atkins really, that diet plan really works for them. It does not work for me. Not good, bad, and different. It just doesn't fit. And so if I attempt to shoehorn myself into a program that doesn't work for me, then I'm doing a disservice to my spirit and to my body, because I'm attempting to make myself a little replica of you, because maybe it worked for you and it makes you feel really good. Or if I attempt to say, no, don't do that because it didn't work for me, then I'm attempting to limit your experience of your spirit in your form, which isn't fair either. And so when we're talking about the greater than self, that is part of the greater than self. It's allowing freedom for the greater whole to have its greater whole experience through each and every one of us, and not saying, no, my experience is the experience, so you better have my experience too, right? It doesn't really work that way. And then going into my mental, right? And really understanding what mentally feeds me. Intellect could mentally stimulate me, but maybe intellect doesn't. Maybe creativity mentally stimulates me. So, does it make it incorrect if I am creatively, artistically, mentally stimulated? And that's how I release and do my mental detox, is I just get it all out on a canvas or through writing, where you're more intellectual, so you have processes that you utilize? No, I just need to understand what fits for me, right? Same with my spiritual expression. However, my spirit expands and feels like it is honoring this beautiful life expression that I'm having, then I should honor that, whether that is through prayer or meditation or specific religious practices. But if your way of having a spiritual expression is through watching movies, then it is not my place to tell you that is not spiritual, right? And to me, that is this common tie where we can each go through and say, this is what it means for me. And this is how I feel the most an expression of my authentic flow of self in this experience, while also seeing the greater than self. And then once I have the inner of this world, like I can honor that in you, you can honor that in me. Now let's look beyond here. How do I honor that in the universe itself without thinking that I need to control and direct anything else that's going on, right?
Boom, baby. Wisdom drops. That was amazing.